Shalom. I want to start off by giving all praises, honors, and glories to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Mahakodash. I want to give the honor to the apostles and the elders of your millstone taught us is 100% truth, according to the spirits to be Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai. Peace and blessings to the hopeful elect out there pushing his word through the four corners of the earth in truth and sincerity. Peace and blessings to Jehovah believers out there, which are also part of the elect till I say Shalom. And once again, I say, call Allah, Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahushai, Bahashem, Machakwadash. Forgive me, Harakakadash, the Holy Spirit, to do this lesson on today. Lord willing to feed you lemon sheep of Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahushai. And today I want to go into a little prophecy, because as you see the particular things going on in the planet Earth, the war that's going on in Iran, with Iran, the U.S., and Israel, how also Iran is closing off the Strait of Hormuz to U.S. and to Israel, and that's this, and there's been talks about China been trading with Iran. If I'm not mistaken, don't quote me on it, but if I'm not mistaken, there's been talks about Iran and China trading with, not trading with the American dollar. You see, so all these particular things are happening, but I want to go into the aspect of how this war in Iran is largely affecting the supply chain, and people that had this normalcy bias tendency, they're not noticing the effects because the effects are growing, but they haven't got to the pinnacle. But because gas is going up, I remember the Apostle Kai, he was just telling us how pretty much that you have and Salakia, my kids in the background. Hold on. Salakia, but as you see, the Apostle Kai, he had mentioned, I think it was the night of the Passover, but he had mentioned pretty much how when he was in Chicago, their gas price. Hey, Salakia, Akim. So I'm back, but as I was saying, the Apostle Kai, he was making reference to us how when he was in Chicago, the gas prices in Chicago were extremely high. People gotten kind of used to gas being around high twos, high threes. But here it is high fours, high fives, and it's just rapidly increasing. And this is a result of the war that is going on between the U.S. and Iran, which is affecting the supply chain major, because people just think about, gas is going up high, and they just think about the only problem is going to be just the gas going up high. But little do they know that the gas affects, first off, certain goods and particular things, which we're gonna pull it in because I put it in the chat. Certain goods and certain things, certain goods, certain metals, certain things that manufacturers and things that they use is now being at a higher price for them because gas is so high. So that's going to affect the buyers, the consumers, which the consumers are you, and it's going to affect you, and it's going to lead to a lot of what's the word, psycho type of energy, as you read about it in Matthew 24, as it says. Let me pull it real quick. Matthew 24. Let me pull it, because that's where you even get that word psycho from. This is Matthew 24. In verse 12. So like it says, and because iniquity shall abound, the love of many shall wax cold. And when you go into wax cold, the word is psycho. So the love that people have for one another is going to wax cold. They're going to go psycho. You see? And why is that? Because of the particular things that are happening upon the planet Earth. Because this Iranian war, this war between the Israel, U.S., we know the scriptures say the least shall draw them out. But we also know the effects of war is famine. All those particular things are the effects of war. And famine is prophecy, you see. So I'm gonna pull that real quick. First off, I want to read some of these news articles real quick for you, right? Where is it at? Because I had some pulled up. Don't tell me I was just scrolling through some. Let's see. Let me go back. As a matter of fact, let me do this. Let's see. This was published March the 9th, and it was updated March the 25th, right? And it says what the Middle East conflict means for grocery prices. And it says oil prices don't need to hit every American directly for a war in Iran to show up on the grocery receipt. The conflict is already, you see, so, because there's certain places where gas is not necessarily extremely high. It's, I guess you could say, they could deal with it. But there's already hella memes going out for gas prices right now. So niggas can't deal with the gas prices. They can't even deal with the gas prices, man. You see? And we going to feel the effects of it. But, we know this is a part of the system crumbling. We all know through the power spirit get Habba Bahashim Bashad. What did the Lord say? My servant shall eat, but he shall be hungry. So the Lord's going to take care of us. We're going to eat. We're not going to partake in the famine. We're not going to partake in all the particular plagues that the Lord is bringing, because they're not brought for the righteous, but for the wicked. And Lord willing, we are the righteous. Lord willing, we are the elect, right? But it says oil prices don't need to hit every American directly for a war to Iran to show up on a grocery receipt. The conflict is already reshaping the cost of fuel, fertilizer, and packaging, three inputs that quietly dictate what shoppers pay for everything from berries to canned soup. You see? And it said quietly. You see? Because it's not major. It's not happening like to where instantly, like next day, boom. But it's gradually happening. It's gradually happening. And what's, about that frog inside of about that frog being inside of a pot. That scenario where a frog's inside of a pot. And if you turn that pot up instantly, the frog will jump out. But if you gradually up the heat on the pot of the pot that has the water in it, eventually you will begin to roast the frog. So you'll boil the frog. But what will happen? The frog won't notice because it's gradually happening. And that's what's with the masses of the people. They have that frog-like mentality, especially you, Jake. The heathen, as scripture say, the heathen, the scriptures loosely paraphrase says how the sons of man are more wiser than the sons of the Most High, which that's true in this time. Jake loves to make memes about everything. They let him make memes about the gas prices and all that, but hey, that's just a small. That's something that's small. That's minute. The gas price is not even. As a matter of fact, the gas prices is more. It's more major than they making it seem. The thing is just, I gotta put gas in the car. It's too expensive. Fuck it. Nah, man. Them gas prices is gonna affect your grocery list too. Like I said, your grocery receipt. Because a lot of the goods is gonna cost more for the U.S. to get a lot of the goods and things like that now, especially being that they have cut off access to the Strait of Hormuz now. They don't have access to it in Israel, so it's gonna cost more for them to get particular goods, manufacturers. It already gave a list of them. It said fuel, fertilizer, and packaging. You see. So let's keep reading. It says, as of the second week of March, global oil markets have already reacted to the winding conflict. London benchmark Brent crude has pushed past $100 a barrel, while U.S. West Texas intermediate sites near $99 and climbing. The Strait of Hormuz, right, which Iran has control of that, through which more than 20% of the world's oil flows, has seen tanker traffic halted or rerouted as shippers reassesses risk in the wake of the Iranian warnings of the U.S. and Israeli strikes. You see? See, that's trying to make me pay. But you see, the war is affecting, and that's one thing of people. Because the one thing that's been talked about, people they're not taking the war seriously. But these things are affecting the supply chain. It's going to affect the everyday American life. pursuing. That's why I wanted to pull them. Read it again. Matthew 24. It's like, let me load up. Matthew 24 and 12. It says, and because iniquity shall abound, because that's nothing that's increasing. The wickedness in the earth is increasing. It says the love of many shall wax cold. Psycho. And why the love of many gonna wax cold? Because these particular things that are coming upon the planet Earth, they're affecting the minds of the people. You see? I mean, the Babylon the Great is likened unto the virgin daughter of Babylon. Why is it likened unto the virgin daughter? Or why is it likened unto a virgin? Because it hasn't really been touched. America, Babylon the Great, hasn't really suffered some major crisis or something major. So the people here, they're not. I mean, if you put a third world condition in Babylon the Great, a lot of people be through. Almost all the people be through. They won't know how to. Most Americans here, most people don't know how to live off the earth. They don't know how to do shit. They don't know how to do nothing. You see? So let me pull some of these scriptures, man. This is let me pull this in 2nd Ezra chapter 6, verse 22. It says, and suddenly shall the sown places appear unsown. And it says the full storehouses shall suddenly be found empty. Did we not read fertilizers being as a major part? That's going into what? The agriculture. The farmers are not going to be able to fertilize and produce the stuff, the crops, the particular foods, the things, right? These particular things are coming to Babylon the Great America, you know. They already go off, they already go on in certain parts of the world to a small degree. But it's going to be amplified due to what's going on in earth. Doing to what the Lord has conspiring on the earth, and when I say conspiring, I don't mean it's his evil plot, but due to what the Lord has playing out on the earth. It's like I misspoken that, but do what the Lord has playing out on earth through the lens of prophecy, and we see it, So I'm gonna pull some more scriptures, man. Just going into the aspect of how this famine is coming, man. Which famine means a scarcity of food, because this is all prophecy, and your Lord said there will be a famine. It's the 2nd Ezra chapter 16, right? And I'm going to jump around a little bit. I'm gonna read verse 14. It says, behold, the plagues are sent and shall not return again until they come upon the earth. You see, the fire is kindled and shall not be put out till it consume the foundation of the earth. So the Lord has sent plagues upon Babylon the Great America for the wickedness. Upon the earth in general. The Lord sending plagues upon the earth due to the wickedness of the rulers. You see? And the people are going to be affected. The only ones that are going to be able to make it through this will be the elect. Pursuant to Jeremiah 30:7 and Daniel 12:1. Right? So let's read this. It says, behold, right? I'm reading verse 18. It says, the beginning of sorrows. Actually, I'm going to read verse 17. It says, woe is me, who will deliver me in those days, right? So you got to think about this. Ezra, he was receiving a vision, and the visions he seen, they were very vivid. A lot of the visions the prophets seen of the end times caused prophets to be sick or to throw up, because of how disgusting and how vivid, man, how it was. And hey, Ezra's like, woe is me. Because it's very devastating what the Lord is bringing upon the planet Earth. People think that what's happening right now is just going to get swept away and the U.S. is going to destroy Iran, whatever. No, what's happening now is going to continue to intensify as it has already been. You see? Keep going. The plagues are going to intensify. It says the beginning of sorrows and great mournings, the beginning of famine and great death. The beginning of wars, and the power shall stand in fear. The beginning of evils. What shall I do when these evils shall come? You see, and that's what we're seeing. We've seen the beginning, because these things already been. We're still in the beginning, but we're fastly approaching to the pinnacle of these things. Because after you leave the beginning, you start to get to the height of it, and we're getting to the height of these particular things soon. It says, behold, famine and plague, tribulation, anguish are sent as scourges for amendment. You see, so these things, these particular plagues, they're being sent upon this place. And they're supposed to, a wise man, one that fears the Lord, is supposed to look at these particular things and repent and to get their house in order. But a lot of, 2/3 of the nation of Israel have been given haven't been given that spirit of wisdom, but spirit of slumber, where they don't recognize these things, and if they do, they make light of them. So they're not taking heed to the morning. But for all these things they shall not turn from their wickedness, nor be always mindful of the scourges. Right? We tell these niggas that the reason that gas prices is rising is because it's part of the war going on, but all this is a part of prophecy. The Lord's doing this. And this part of the Lord's plan of destroying Esau's rulership. We tell niggas this, and they goes in one ear, go out the other. It says, behold, victual shall be so good and cheap upon the earth, they shall think themselves to be in good case, and even then shall evils grow upon the earth, sword, famine, and great confusion. For many of them that dwell upon the earth shall perish of famine, and the other that escape the hunger shall the sword destroy. You see? So famine is going to be a large indicator of the Lord bringing his wrath, destruction upon the planet earth. You see, as a matter of fact, let me see if I can pull it right here. They got that pocket phone here? Okay. Let me see. This is Sirach 40 and I'm going to get straight to the point. Verse 9, it says, death and bloodshed, strife and sword, calamities, famine, tribulation, and the scourge. These things are created for the wicked, and for their sakes came the flood. So that's the reason that for their sakes comes the second death. And famine, like we just mentioned in 2 16, famine is a large indicator. It's going to be a large root. It's going to be the root problem for a lot of motherfuckers dying. You see? They're going to die from malnutrition, from not having food. And some of it's going to be because a person has lack of food. They're going to eat you. Cannibalism is going to become live and vivid in these times we're in. People are going to be eating each other because of the lack of food. Root problem stemming back to the famine, you see? But we know a lot of you going to die just from not even being able to eat. You're going to starve to death. And because the food that you do find, when your body's undergoing the process of malnutrition, you got to be careful when you start back trying to eat. But since your brain has already got the mindset like, I'm starving, I just need to eat, you're going to eat. And that term, they be like, your eyes bigger than your stomach. Usually used for if you eating too much. You thought you was really hungry, but you're not as hungry as like that. It's not going to, the case is going to be for them is they're going to be in that same case. Their eyes going to be bigger than their stomach. You got to nibble. You got to nibble on it. You got to go slow, take it easy. But they're going to be starving to death, and they're just going to throw it all back up and try to eat it. That's the type of conditions that the Lord is bringing upon this planet Earth. And we see beginning stages to the heights of it. So let me, before I pull more scripture, let me get into this chat. Because I just put it in the chat. Hopefully it loads up. So this is right here. This is chat. It says, "How was the war?" I had put, "How's the war in Iran affecting the supply chain?" It says the war in Iran is affecting the global supply chain in a few big interconnected ways. The short version is not a full Crown Vic level breakdown, but it is causing higher costs, delays, and risk, especially tied to energy and shipping. One, it says oil and energy shock. So the biggest impact is a huge portion of the world's oil flows through the Strait of Hormuz, a critical shipping choke point. The conflict has disrupted or reduced that flowing, pushing oil prices way up. Oil prices have surged, some estimates over $100 a barrel, which we just read, $100 a barrel in the US 99. And that was in March. We in April. You see? It says raising costs across the economy. It says why this matters. It says fuel powers everything in supply chains, trucks, ships, and planes. When fuel rises, shipping costs rise, product prices rise. So inflation. And why does inflation happen? Inflation happens because what? It's a shortage of something. You see? Why is there a shortage of food? It's a shortage of food due to the due to the shortage of oil. Two, it says shipping and trade disruptions. Ships are avoiding or unable to pass through key routes. Traffic through Hormuz has dropped dramatically, with some areas nearly shut down. Hundreds of vessels have been delayed or backed up. It says results longer delivery times, higher freight rates, rerouting, which adds time and cost. So there's more money being involved, and if the money's being involved, that means lesser money for the Americans. Taxes and on the land go higher thing. You know what I'm saying? It's not good for the ones. Damn, what's the word? It's not good for these civilians. So air cargo logistics, rising costs across everything. I'm reading. It says rising costs across everything. It says because energy is tied to almost every product, manufacturing costs go up, transportation costs go up, insurance, war risk shipping goes up. This leads to inflation, higher prices for consumers, lower global economic growth projections. And you read this right here. This is 6. It says not a total collapse yet. Important nuances. It says experts say this is more concentrated in energy, not a full global supply chain breakdown like the Crown Vic. Global logistics systems can still adapt, rerouting alternate suppliers. But if the conflict spreads or lasts longer, it could become much worse, impacting everything from food to electronics, you see. So, because it's mainly impacting the energy and fuel, which energy and fuel impacts everything else. But if it continues on longer, which you pray this continues on longer. But that's the thing, though. Because Esau we already know Esau could use this and be like, well, we have to initiate this digital system. Because it talks about the MOTB, AI taking over 20% of classrooms and stuff like that. This age of technocracy that Esau's trying to push forth is still very evident. It ain't went away. It's just people have been more distracted with the war. But I wouldn't be surprised if it tones down and that system comes as the solution. You gotta remember what the Freemasonry say: order ab chaos, order ad a chaos. And you gotta remember what it says on the dollar bill in Latin: novus seclorum, novus oro seclorum, new world of the ages, new great world of the ages, something like that is translated to new order of the ages. You see? So he saw, hey, we gotta remember, he tried to do this planned demolition, but we know it's gonna explode in his face. It's gonna get a little too out of hand. He think he running the game, but he ain't, right? But you see how it's gonna affect, and I also want to put this. I want to look at this right here because I had looked it up in just a Google, gave it a little AI review. I said supply. Nah, not that one. God, I think it's this one right here. Nah, I had put it in. Yeah, put it right here. It says AI over. It says yes, the conflict in the Middle East is driving up U.S. supermarket prices due to rising energy costs, specifically diesel and gasoline, which increases transportation and agriculture production expenses. The war is causing a major energy price shock, with oil prices rising significantly, threatening to increase costs for consumer goods and impacting supply chain. You see? So I won't be surprised if this dies down just for a little bit. It don't completely go away, because it really never completely went away. The conflict between Iran, Israel, and U.S., it really never just went completely away. It was already a smidge left, but it just was died down. You see? But you see that? It says, it's like if I read it a little fast, get a little excited. But, so I'm reading again. Yes, the conflict in the Middle East is driving up the U.S. supermarket prices due to rising energy costs, specifically diesel and gasoline. You see, people, They see that gas going up a little bit. They think that's all it is. No, this is going to affect that gas price. I mean, them grocery receipts, man. It's going to affect them grocery receipts. All them groceries you buying, it's going to be memes now popping up where it's going to be like, motherfuckers going to start thieving. They're going to start stealing. Anarchy is going to be more evident in the times we're coming into, because people are not going to be able to afford these things, man. The gas going to be high. The food going to be high. They're going to be like, fuck this shit. Motherfuckers be thieving and stealing now. And the shit ain't even that bad. How much more when it continues to get worse? You see? How much more when this thing continues to get worse, man? Let me pull some more, man. This is I want to pull this in Second Ezra chapter 15. Because we know this is all part of prophecy, man. Second Ezra chapter 15 and verse 5 is to behold, said the Lord Yahweh Bahashim Yahushai, I will bring plagues upon the world, the sword, famine, death, and destruction. You see? Sword going to the 200 million thermonuclear missiles, and also be the aspect of Esau, martial law. You know, martial law. Because if anarchy happened, then Esau gonna have to have an answer for that, which he plans to have an answer for that, I'm pretty sure. Because he the one causing this bullshit. I mean, the conflict it's really stupid, but we know what this nigga trying to do. Famine, which is a shortage of food, we see. And famine's gonna be a root to a lot of problems. Famine's gonna be the root to cannibalism. Famine's gonna be a root to motherfuckers dying by the sword because he didn't have money. You see? So let me see. I think it says some more in here. Yeah, I'm gonna get this. I'm gonna read this. This is saying it's 15 and 11. But I will bring them. I'm gonna start at verse 10. It says, behold, my people is led as a flock to the slaughter. I will not suffer them now to dwell in the land of Egypt, but I will bring them with a mighty hand and have a stretched out arm and smite Egypt with plagues as before and will destroy all the land thereof. And that's the thing too. When you read the plagues of Egypt, the Lord had like one or two or three plagues that was just smiting the agriculture aspect, because you had the hail, the rain from the hail, then you had the boils, the blood and the water. A lot of the plagues were fucking up the agriculture and the supply chain of Egypt. A lot of the plagues were. A lot of them were. The locusts, you see? That's the same type of plagues that are here today. The Lord ain't got no locusts, no locust thing, but he's fucking up the supply chain of Babylon the Great. Because it's going to affect the consumers. Now the consumers going to start to bug out. All types of things, man. It's beautiful. We just sitting back and letting the Lord, it's like we ain't letting the Lord do nothing. But, the term, I was saying that. We just watching the Lord do his beautiful work upon the planet Earth. The Lord willing, we continue to be in the spirit and in the stead of enjoying it, man. Watching the Lord work, watching our husband work, man. Watching the Lord do his thing. And just stay loyal. Keep the fear, keep the faith, man. Because it's going to be horrific deaths and particular things that happen unto individuals. And the Lord, he's not playing. Keep going to verse 12. It says, Egypt shall mourn, and the foundation of it shall be smitten with the plague and punishment that the Lord shall bring upon it. You see? It says, verse 13, and that's what's happening. The foundation. The Lord going at the roots, the foundation of this thing, man. It says, verse 13, they that till the ground shall mourn, for their seed shall fail through the blasting and the hail with the fearful constellation. Yeah, constellation. You see? So that's gonna happen. That's what's happening. Fertilizer gone. All these potato. That's what's happening. The famine is a prophecy. People be sleeping on the effects of war. One of the major effects of war is famine. One of the major effects of war is famine, man. So yeah, Lord willing, this was edifying through the power and spirit of Yahweh Bahashim Yahushai and future lemon of Yahweh Bahashim Yahushai. I'm going to end off by saying, call Lord Yahweh Bahashim Yahushai Bahashim Chakwadash. I'm going to give that honor to the apostles and the elders, great millstone, and to y'all. I'm going to say shalom.